It's more fun in the Philippines.
But it's more fun if it lasts.
SOS is a call for help.
To save our spots.
A campaign focused on sustainability.
And how applying it can make us better travelers
And more responsible tourists.
To make it simple.
Dapat lang marunong tayong rumespeto.
Respect the environment.
Pick up the trash you see.
Kahit hindi ikaw nagkalat.
Respect our culture and heritage.
Magpaalam bago kumuha ng pictures ng mga locals.
At huwag basta-basta hawakan ng sites.
Respect everyone around you.
Dapat good vibes tayo sa kapwa Pilipino.
At syempre sa mga foreign friends din natin.
Dahil dito sa SOS,
Sama-sama tayo.
And every little act we do can help make a big difference.
At home and while traveling.
like opting for reusables,
Instead of disposables,
Biking and walking more. Using less electricity.
As long as we're consistent.
And we convince everyone around us to do the same.
We can change this country for the better.
Huwag natin babayaan ang Pilipinas.
Join this cause.
dapat hindi lang maganda ang pinupuntahan nating destinations
Dapat, pinapaganda pa natin ito.
While we're there.
Let's appreciate
And take more care.
of our nature's beauty. Para more travels tayo around the country, more tourists,
Being more respectful.
and more fun in the Philippines!
Let's make our destinations last.
Save our spots.
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 Para more fun, forever.
Hi, good day everyone, and welcome to the third episode of Planet 63, your products from the Philippines and products for the Filipinos. Again, I'm your Professor Jonathan, coming live here from Planet 63 Philippines. And today we are so excited because we are going to have a couple of guests right now. And of course, every Tuesdays here in the Philippines, as early as 8:30 a.m., we are calling on all product manufacturers, of course, channels, distributors, Filipinos around the globe for to listen and learn anew, especially now that we have a couple of guests coming from the California State University Global Center for Management, and of course our very own Saint C. So sit back and relax, and we hope you're going to enjoy the show again. So it's morning here in the Philippines, and of course it's afternoon there in the USA. So without further ado, let's all welcome our partner, the CEO and founder of Planet 63 US. Let's all welcome once again, Mr. Ferdinand Soriano. How are you, Mr. Ferdinand?
Jonathan, thank you so much for always introducing me nicely, my friend. And I'm excited to be here because our show keeps getting better and better. And I'm excited because we keep getting guests that are obviously getting better and better in terms of the product and the format that we're trying to create and form, so that we can definitely help a lot of Philippine manufacturers get into the U.S. market, and vice versa, U.S. businesses that want to get into the Philippine market. So I'm excited.
Ferdinand, let's greet one of our Filipino audiences here, Ambion Herdy from Z Enterprises. She's watching all the way from Mindanao. So maayong aga sa inyong tanan, or maayong buntag sa inyong tanan. That's how we say it in Mindanao. Also watching us right now from my thread is from Canada, a Filipino-Canadian, Janice Arnado's watching also. And Miss Josephine Robinos of the University of Makati, because they know that we also have a professor coming in all the way from CSU San Bernardino. So what's up, Ferdinand? I think this is going to be a very productive and busy day. Again, good afternoon, everyone, to all my Filipino network and colleagues and clients there in North America, and of course, specifically in California.
Yeah, good afternoon and good morning to everyone there in the Philippines. Thank you so much for watching. We're excited because we get to deliver all the amazing products as well from the Philippines and the U.S. And also say hello. As a matter of fact, I was just reading about Mindanao the other day, about so many wonderful products in Mindanao. We would love to have companies from Mindanao be on the show, Jonathan.
Correct. So I hope, Ferdinand, you were able to share this on your watch party because we are live and we will always recognize and acknowledge all your comments. So it's more of a talk show, with Ferdinand and Professor Jonathan here at Planet 63. So what do we have for today, Ferdinand?
Well, if you want me, should we start to introduce our first guest because
course.
his introduction is really long.
Sure.
So let's
Sure.
go ahead and get him on the show because you and I can talk forever, Jonathan. That's one thing I learned. So let me go ahead and introduce our next guest. He has a PhD in Wharton School. He's an expert in international management, strategy, a global context, and also teaches studies abroad business in China, India, Middle East, and Europe, and courses at CVPA. He is renowned for his contribution to the science of culture, sustainable strategic management in the emerging markets, managing organizational and technological transformation, and entrepreneurial global and women's leadership. I told him that his background is so intense that I cannot read all of them. I'll let him tell you all about himself. Please welcome the professor and co-director of the Center of Global Management for Cal State University, San Bernardino in California, United States. Please welcome Dr. Vipin Gupta. Hi, Vipin. How are you?
Hi, Ferdinand. Hi, Jonathan.
Good afternoon. Hi, Dr. Vipin. Thank you for being with us on this show today. I know you're so busy, but it's our pleasure all the way here from the Philippines. I represent all the Philippine colleges and universities. Thank you for gracing the show, Dr. Vipin.
It's a pleasure.
I mean, we have a lot of things that we want to know. And obviously, before we went onto the show, Vipin, I really wanted you to talk about a little bit about yourself as well as get into what the GAP program or the Global Access program is about and introduce the Cal State University San Bernardino to us. So please talk a little bit about yourself and then what you do and what's the GAP's basically its mission.
Very good. I'm a professor of management, and I'm originally from India, came to the US in 91, and I've been here and, of course, travel a lot internationally. I love learning about cultures and helping countries can learn from each other. So the Global Access Program at California State University that our center runs, the Center for Global Management, is really designed to help our small and medium enterprises in our region to look beyond the local market. As you know, America is a big market. Worldwide companies look at USA as a huge market. And most of our small businesses in our region, they don't expand their horizons as much. And therefore, they tend to focus on the opportunities that are near them. And so it's really important that we provide them exposure to international connections. And similarly, there are a lot of gems and a lot of things that are around the world, especially in the emerging markets like Philippines, that our businesses are not aware of. And when we connect Filipino businesses to American businesses, they realize that there could be opportunities for franchising, there could be opportunities for of course, exports and imports, distribution. There could be opportunities for marketing, website development, and many other areas where we can develop. So our goal is to bring together everybody who can help the two countries come together and do businesses that help business in each of the countries, create employment in each of the countries, and does also kind of help our students learn from this interaction among the different businesses and provide kind of research-based support. Our students conduct research, and even this semester we have 120 students working on different Filipino opportunities, and they're looking at different Filipino businesses and what those businesses can bring to American companies.
Jonathan, did you want to?
Yeah, that's exactly my point. As I was listening to Dr. Bipin, you mentioned about this 120 students, right? And these are non-Filipinos, right? Who's studying, right? The Philippines in that case. And what's the requirement? Because right now we have a lot of, with what this COVID-19, this pandemic had done here, in a developing country like us. there are a lot of those who are really looking forward to, of course, making their business go global. In fact, one of our guests right now from Saint C is going to discuss to us how we, how we can do this global. But what's the minimum requirement like, Dr. Vipin, for students? Because I also have like students here in my own academy, and how can we collaborate your students vis-a-vis Filipino companies? Is there a minimum, like revenue every year, like for small, for micro or medium enterprises for that sort, Dr. Vipin?
Sure. So that's a great question, Jonathan. So what the students are doing, so these students are essentially juniors and seniors. So essentially in the third and fourth year of the undergraduate program in the college. They all studying different disciplines of business. Some of them are studying specifically management specialization, but others are studying different disciplines, accounting, finance, marketing, and so on. And they are looking at the American businesses initially, and they're saying that, okay, how can we help these businesses take advantage of different strengths of different Filipino businesses? So they are all identifying 3 to 4 Filipino partners in variety of industries, whether it's fashion, whether it's sort of design, it's agriculture, and fleet management softwares. So you name it, and there are just a range of sectors where American businesses or even Filipino businesses who are based in the US who have indicated that they would like to find more opportunities in the Philippines. Right. So many times the people who have been living in the US for long, they don't really have that many connections in Philippines, and therefore they want to vet through an academic network and through the partners that we have, because we work very closely, of course, with both of you, but also with the Philippines government agencies. And as a result, they're able to identify partners that otherwise the American businesses will not be able to find. And we do it completely free of cost because it helps our students learn about real things, right? And it also, they all write report, and it's a report where they're looking at, of course, how businesses in the Philippines are much more effective in managing cultural dimensions of Philippines.
Sure.
Right? Being a Filipino company, one would presume that they would know how to manage Filipino culture. They would know how to manage government rules. They will know how to manage kind of different islands and geography and the economic dimension. And really the idea is that why do we want to reinvent the wheel by doing it ourselves? Why can't we partner with them in creating new solutions that we can bring back to the US? By the same time, we can use American solutions to enhance value of whatever the Filipino firms are doing. So that's really the idea here.
So basically, they deal with American, correct me if I'm wrong, Dr. Vipin, but basically this is their project, global competency project, in a way that they have a student. Let's say I am a student from the US, from CSU particularly, and I will have, as part of my thesis or my feasibility, an American company, and help that American company expand in the Philippines, something like that. Is that how you look at it?
Yes. So expanding in the Philippines more from a partnership perspective, because some businesses may say that they don't have the resources because they're too small to go in the Philippines on their own. But by working as a partner, just like Ferdinand and Jonathan, you're coming together and creating a wonderful sort of project, right? And you're bringing your resources. So there's no investment, but because you are able to leverage each other's strength, that itself allows you to go much beyond what you can do individually. So that's the idea, that the many Filipino firms don't have resources to even look globally. They are kind of too small, right? And similarly, there are many American businesses that are too small, but can they come together and see kind of what strengths they have and and go much beyond kind of what, because if you have to compete, everybody is already competing by partnering with other American companies. In Philippines, everybody is already competing by partnering with other Filipino companies. But the beauty is, can you partner, whatever you're looking at local social networks, instead of that, can you now create cross-national networks that allow you to bring something different that you could not have brought into your market if you had been just alone, just looking at locally. So it's really about global mindset, globalizing, and saying that that the flavor, the touch, the beauty that we can bring to the nation, the diversity we can bring to our customers, to our employees, by just opening our mind and making these cross-border connections is going to be different. And,
Correct.
And if that can bring a smile, that can bring something beautiful to the local people,
Vipin,
we have done our job.
Vipin, I wanted to ask you something. One of the things that I enjoyed about our last event, and maybe you could tell us a little bit about that later, is that when Philippine manufacturers are able to communicate and connect with the program, the thing that I'm impressed about is that you're able to lend the resources of the university in terms of the program. Am I correct? Right? Because of research and things of that. So that's why I wanted you to maybe speak a little bit about, from the perspective of you actually sent a report out just recently regarding, Philippines, especially the agricultural industry in the Philippines, right? So can you tell us a little bit about that? The one that report that you sent to the Department of Trade and everybody else about agriculture in the Philippines. Do you remember that report?
Sure. So let me share that let me see if I can bring that to share.
Because what that was is that anybody watching this that are involved in the agriculture industry also,
Sure.
because Jonathan already made a perspective from the Philippine side. Now I want to show or tell the farmers, the manufacturers, that the Philippines can be a force to reckon with in terms of that industry. And when you said that, it should be pretty empowering for everybody else in the country. So if you want to just elaborate a little bit about that, and then maybe go back to Jonathan's question, that would be great.
Okay. So I'm checking. Are you able to see my screen? No.
Yeah. It's here. But you have,
Okay.
It's here.
So,
Yeah.
I'm projecting a PowerPoint US Filipino Agri Sector Trade Forum. So you're able to see that, right?
Great. Yeah, it's here.
Okay. So Ferdinand, thank you for identifying that. So let me share some opportunities and the way we frame things so that we can work with various agencies, because really the role that the Global Access Program plays is by bringing different actors, both government and private sector, as well as the students, bringing all three groups like a triad by framing issues in a new way, right? So recently, the US government came up with a report that talks about the opportunities for US businesses and Filipino businesses to work together in the agriculture sector. And the basic thrust of the report is that the opportunities that exist is first the US processable agri materials and technical process methods, and working together with Filipino agri materials such as tropical fruits, vegetables, cocoa, sugar, and seafood. And so US provides the technology, US provides certain agriculture materials, Philippines provides certain agriculture materials, and that creates innovative product offerings. It allows penetration of the Asian markets, and it creates a agro-industrial business corridors with Philippines as the hub. And really where there is a regulatory ease, because Philippines government is interested in this area, and also there is a regional logistics infrastructure that gets created. Okay.
Yes.
So that's one opportunity that the US government has identified. The second opportunity US government has identified is that 2/3 of US agriculture exports are agriculture ingredients and processable agri products, and 1/3 are finished products. Okay. So what may be possible is to identify additional agri ingredients that are not currently being used to improve the cost effectiveness of current agri ingredients. For instance, if there's a lot of food that is being wasted in the Philippines because organic food cannot be kept fresh. So if we can provide some equipment, cost-effective refrigeration and other kind of technologies that allows improves the cost effectiveness of what's happening in the Philippines, and it allows more value added to even US finished products that are being exported to the Philippines, because whatever fresh fruits, vegetables, other things which are coming from the US which are not available in the Philippines, it may be possible to add value to that also. Okay. The secondary opportunity, in addition to that, is that how can we go beyond the companies that have the resources and the money to buy and to pay for the American technical support services. And so many of the, especially small businesses in the US, they may work with the franchise model in the Philippines. And Philippines is the global leader in franchising. And even where I am, Inland Empire, the Southern California, we are the franchise capital of the US because all these fast food companies, McDonald's and all Pizza Hut and everybody else, they started in our region, in Inland Empire, in San Bernardino County. So essentially, you can what we are suggesting is that American small businesses can work with sort of cooperatives who could be the franchisor and who could kind of essentially use American technical processes, automation systems, and manpower skill upgradation systems to create kind of, just like Jonathan creates this academy. So similar to that, they create some kind of franchise training programs for all Filipino small and medium enterprise food and beverage processors, whether they're farmers, whether they are micro enterprises, and then create kind of independent or co-branded physical and digital global market channels, right? So if they do that, then it really opens up the market and supply chain, and it creates great upgrading opportunities throughout. So most of the 500 food and beverage processors in the Philippines are small and medium enterprises. They cater mainly to the domestic sector as of now, which constitutes about half of 50 billion retail food sector. So what that means is that all these small and medium enterprises in the food and beverage sector that exist in Philippines, they don't have capability as of now to compete globally. And they cannot access global market for whatever reason. Either they don't have digital resources, they are not able to brand themselves internationally. So if American companies can help them fix those gaps that exist and help them create a presence in the international market by improving that branding and certifying their quality and so on, and working with local cooperatives, then it really opens up huge market for the local firms, and it creates kind of more value-added strengths for the American firms. Finally, kind of I'll end this third opportunity is in the Philippines. There are a lot of industries that are using agri products, in particular fashion and beauty.
Correct.
And that is adding a lot of value. And if you look at the Philippines, it's very interesting. Kind of what we found was that Philippines may be the organic fashion beauty capital of the world. And it's a hidden secret that nobody has identified. And so there's opportunity for branding Philippines as an eco-friendly, organic, sustainable, and ethical country, just like UAE and Costa Rica are doing. Based on home-based and macro enterprises, women-owned and women-led enterprises, minority-owned and minority-led enterprises, and provide an alternative to chemical-based fibers and textiles sector. So globally, organic fashion beauty products is $30 billion industry, US $30 billion, right? So that's about 2.5% of $1,200 billion fashion beauty products market. In Philippines, the fashion beauty products is worth $5 billion, and organic sector is 20%. Now, think of it. Worldwide, organic sector is only 2.5% of fashion beauty. In Philippines, organic sector is 20% of fashion beauty, right? So in international business, we say that a country where a more percentage is devoted to certain things, that means that country has a global advantage in that area. That country is like a capital, worldwide capital of that. So worldwide, sort of being known as a country which is very dynamic in organic fashion beauty can really create a lot of wonders internationally, can open up a lot of opportunities for local small businesses and it can it can allow each small businesses in Philippines to potentially become a franchise owner, a franchise master, right? Franchisor, which gives franchisees in different countries for their own operations. So each small business can be a incubator for thousands of small businesses around the world. And Philippines has that potential. All we need to do is that to unlock that potential.
Jonathan,
Yeah,
wasn't that
Ferdinand,
amazing?
yeah, I have a very interesting, learning and insights from here. Me being, a Filipino for 47 years. This is my take on this, Dr. Bipin. Surprisingly, I don't know if you will agree with me. Of course, Ferdinand and Dr. Vipin coming from the US. Of course, Ferdinand, born here, but of course, you're all your life. I don't have to say that you've been there for 50 years, but all your life, all your life you've been in the US. But here's the thing, Dr. Vipin, right? We really have a lot of resources here in the Philippines, but it's always the because it's not a secret to you anymore that we've been Americanized, the education, the lifestyle, everything, right? There's still that hidden treasure for me, with all being said and done, right? $1 billion opportunity, still the missing point, at least on my perspective from here, Ferdinand, is what I call the aggregator that should be coming from outside. This is just my take. It should be coming from outside this country. Because if the aggregator will be coming from this country, then there will be a lot of glitches, as we say, because there will be a lot of hops, But if it will be coming from there, because as you mentioned, there will be organizations who can fund, let's say, the training, that franchisor-led business model, because Filipinos, basically, we are learners. We just imagine we've been educated for what, 15, 20 years of our lives before, going to work. So we always want something to educate us, but do not leave us just on education part. But, continue it on the application side in such a way that there is a sure job or a sure entrepreneurial opportunity for each one. So if the California State University, just my take, Ferdinand, the California State University through the Global Center for Management or the Global Access Program will provide that kind of model, Dr. Bipin, as in the academe, right? Then I think it will be a great opportunity, and it's a new business model or canvas here in the Philippines, because for sure there will be a lot of resources, right? There are people who will do it. There are materials to do it. What's missing is the funding, and of course that aggregator who will be coming from there. Then I think the missing piece will be provided, and there's a great opportunity for everyone. You're right. Just imagine we have about 7,000 plus islands here. But unfortunately, we also have 7,000 leaders for each island. So just imagine
I think that what we're doing is actually that's what we're trying to do with Planet 63. As you know, you and I have spoken about this, and for us to have someone like Dr. Gupta here to be able to tell us all of that and reinforce it, we're just trying to create that message. That's why, in a way, that's what we're doing.
Yes.
That's the reason why Vipin is here. So I know that there's so much to discuss, and I'm excited to talk to Vipin more, but we actually have another guest that we want to bring in also. But I want Dr. Gupta to come back later and maybe say something, in terms of other things that might, that the Philippine manufacturers or Philippine business might find interesting. But for now, I guess we need to, we also need to bring in our next guest, right?
Sure. So again, Dr. Bipin, please don't go yet, because there are a lot of questions coming in my thread right now, right? Before we take a break, there's this one comment, right? Dr. Bipin, there's this one comment that Coach Marvin Da Silva, who happens to be from a global brand, a Philippine brand that went global already, Potato Corner. He's part of the executive team for this. He says here, our country is rich in manpower and agribusiness, raw materials, and land. We just need global presence through international trade exhibitions and support from our Department of Trade, like access to funding and international linkages. Well, Coach Marvin, yeah, I think this is what Planet 63 is all about. We are a virtual trade and technology platform, same as a World Trade, exhibition events group, right? And we are now, directly with the Global Access Program of the CSU. So, Dr. Bipin, I'm sure you heard that. And it's all about funding and international linkages, of which your group can provide, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. So again, Dr. Bibin will be back. Ferdinand and I will be back together with Jeepney Stop and our guest from Saint C, Mr. Alan Tuason, the CEO and founder of Saint C, to look at the local perspective. So Planet 63 will be back. Products from the Philippines, products for the Filipinos.
Just because estudyante pa ako, doesn't mean I can't go off chasing my dreams.
Just because kasal na kami, doesn't mean we can't embark on a new journey.
Just because single parent ako, doesn't mean I can't go off on adventures.
Just because may edad na ako, doesn't mean I can't look for new experiences.
Just because single ako, doesn't mean I'm lonely.
And just because I'm on a budget, doesn't mean I can't experience the finer things in life.
That's why at AirAsia, we believe that when it comes to your dreams, no one should settle for anything less than what they deserve. That's why even if you pay less, doesn't mean it has to be less convenient. It doesn't mean you get less comfort. It doesn't mean you can't be treated like a VIP. Because whatever the price, getting you to your dreams shouldn't feel anything less than a luxury. AirAsia, the world's best low-cost airline.
All right, Ferdinand, Planet 63 is back. So as I promised you, I'm gonna change my wardrobe because we are now coming from the Philippines.
You gotta stand up and then do
it. Right.
Okay,
this
so
is the official,
let's go ahead and introduce our next guest.
Yeah. All right. Go, Bob.
We already got merch. Okay. Let me go ahead and introduce our next guest. I met him. I think I started talking to him last year, and through the months that we haven't spoke, I know that he's grown his company to a certain size that's now, his product was on Instagram, which was, I think, shown by a local influencer that has so many followers, and I'm happy for him that that's happened. So he can tell you a little bit more about that. But his company is a premium brand that specializes in creating innovative, healthy, and tasty food condiments that enhances and livens up everyday dishes. Okay, the company meticulously steps to ensure that the only freshest and most natural ingredients are used from locally available sources. Please welcome the CEO and founder of Saint C. Please welcome Alan Tuason. Alan, how are you, buddy?
Hi, how are you?
Thank you for gracing the show. Thank you.
Glad to be here in your show, episode 3. Congratulations.
Thank you, Nat.
We have so many to talk about, but I don't know, maybe we should should we bring in the other guest also before?
Sure.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, the more the merrier.
Exactly. That's what I was going to say. Anyway, now to make it short, because we want to get to talk about the product, I want to bring in what I would consider two marketing divas, okay? The name of their company is My Jeepney Stop. It's the fastest growing Filipino online directory with close to 3,000 active listings in the U.S. and has since expanded its services to include event management and target marketing services. We brought them onto the show because we wanted to give the audience a perspective about the U.S. market. These two are amazing at what they do, and I'm lucky, and Jonathan, you and I are lucky to have them here. Please welcome from My Jeepney Stop, Christina Espiritu and Christine Consunji.
All right. Great.
Hey, ladies. How are you?
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for having us.
Correct. Nagtatagalog pa ba? Marunong pa bang magtagalog?
Ako marunong.
How about Attorney Spiritu? Attorney Spiritu, I think you are muted. Naka-mute siya. Naka-mute.
Okay. There you go.
There you go. Yeah,
okay.
bati-bati muna.
Hi.
Bati-bati. Yeah.
Yeah, good afternoon to us. Good evening. Good evening. Good morning to everyone else, right?
I'm excited you guys are here. So you guys get to listen to Alan talk about his amazing, product. And at the end, I really wanted you guys to kind of give some perspective about where his product could be here in the U.S. market. Because at the end of the day, that's what we're also trying to help Alan. I know that Alan wants to go global. He's already doing well in the Philippines, but I want him to kind of get a perspective about the U.S. market too. So with that being said, Alan, go ahead. Start talking about a little bit about you as well as your products, Alan.
Thank you, Ferdinand. Thank you, Jonathan, and ladies. Thank you. Well, right here with my back and my product is actually concentrated calamansi. The idea came about from a trip in Japan, and from there we saw in the supermarket they sell yuzu fruit, and yuzu is very much like calamansi here. But the way that yuzu has been done in Japan is definitely not the way we have been doing it here in the Philippines. And in Japan, they sell it pure, it's almost fresh. If you do a blind test, you can't even tell the taste of the sliced yuzu fruit from the bottled yuzu juice. And so when I came back, I thought of just checking out what's out in the market. Unfortunately, a lot of our calamansi products here have been sold with sweeteners, either brown sugar, honey, or white sugar. And that has been done for maybe for decades. There are only a handful here who sells pure, but ever since I've done a lot of taste tests with them, I'm not quite satisfied with the way they've done it as compared to what Japan has been doing to their yuzu. And that has been my benchmark, actually, because everywhere I look, yuzu is all over. It's globally. Even Chef Jamie Oliver in the UK has picked it up. So I'm just trying to imagine myself, what if we actually have a product, calamansi, which is very known already here and around the world. If we have just the right way of processing it, properly bottled, properly presented, and properly marketed, what if we do that and we're able to sell it abroad and be able to have a so-called taste of the Philippines, for every household, for every family, Filipino family, but not only just Filipino family, but for the ones who've gone here in the Philippines and have experienced tasting calamansi. I was hoping to have the same experience. So that's how it started. And the journey hasn't been quite easy. It's actually been 5 years. And intermittently, I've been trying to work on the side. I'm actually currently, I still am a professional commercial photographer. And fortunately for me, for 17 years. Previous to that, I was in the banking industry. So, at least I had that discipline before I moved into being an entrepreneur. And that experience in photography gave me another experience in how to deal properly with at least the top 100 companies here. And fortunately for me, I have been dealing a lot with the major food companies. And from there, I also learned part of the discipline and how they do things. And now I'm able to apply that same discipline with my product. So the way I present them, the way I market them, and the way I want to move forward and bring them globally in the US, in Canada, and all over Europe and parts of Asia, it would be the way that even the big companies have been doing it. In the last couple of years also, I've been fortunate enough to have a mentor, and he was able to guide me through, how to go about selling my product abroad. And I have been actually exposed to that a lot. So attending trade expos in Dubai, here locally, I have been able to compare how people do things properly, how products should be presented, how the qualities and that each of the Filipino products should have at least to be able to compete abroad. And so with that, I've been trying to inch my way in. Now, the funny thing is, when I was looking globally, the pandemic hit. So early this year. So everything got stalled, all my plans to work things out abroad. and and everything stopped. I decided, what will I do with all the things that I already prepared for? I have my bottles, I have my raw materials. So I started working back here locally. I never thought that the locals would actually pick up my product simply because it's just so easy to pick up calamansi here, right? You just go to a local grocery store nearby, and you'll have it, or even the nearby palengke, and you'll have calamansi, right? But as I started marketing my product here out of necessity, because photography had stopped for a while, I had to sell. I had to do something. Fortunately, locals have picked up my product quite well, and with a lot of positive comments about it. And so my confidence, started building up, and I realized, why would I sell globally first when here locally they don't even know about my product? So it just made perfect sense to start locally first, market here. Hopefully the word would come out. People will start spreading the word, and it's almost like seeding locally first, and hopefully globally things will follow. And that seems to be the natural progression, and that seems to be happening right now. So we've had some actually good experiences where people, just before the pandemic started, they started bringing my calamansi as a pasalubong. It has gotten to New York, Dubai, Hong Kong, Singapore, some parts of Europe, and people were actually very happy. And with that kind of gave some confidence to me and my company that, hey, I think we're onto something. But I think more than anything, it has to start with a perfect product. Just a good, honest to goodness, tasting calamansi. So that's how we started. But when we were going over my products, I realized calamansi was just not enough. So I came up with actually a second product. So this is actually cocomansi. Now, cocomansi is actually a combination of cocoa aminos and calamansi. Now, 3 years ago, I never knew about cocoa aminos. Apparently, it has already been sold even in the US at Trader Joe's and Wholesome Foods. Cocoa aminos is already actually quite popular for keto dieters and paleo dieters. Simply because it's a natural alternative to soy sauce, and it has low glycemic qualities, and it's all natural. It's practically organic. So when I started dabbling with it, fortunately for me, nobody's ever done something what I was about to do, wherein I blended cocoa aminos with my calamansi. So that was something new. I researched. I'm still not so sure until now if there's actually something similar, but apparently nobody's ever done it. So what I've done is I tried. I went to I had a proprietary office to have it trademarked. We already trademarked the name Cocomansi, and hopefully nobody tries to copy it right away. But so far, I know I'm the first one who's ever done it. But the experience and the inspiration actually came from our local toyo mansi and the Japanese ponzu sauce. That's actually basically the inspiration. So now I came up with something more unique, new to the market. And when we started selling it locally, it was quite difficult, and I expected it. Nobody even knew about cocoa aminos to begin with. But when they started changing their ingredient, instead of a soy sauce, they used the cocomansi. Anything that you use soy sauce with, replace it with cocomansi. That's how simple it is. And the taste notes have changed. The adobo is now different. Their bistek Tagalog is now different. Their salpicao is now different. And when we started selling it, it was actually the people who have been sharing their recipes to us, doing something more to our product. Even I went to a Japanese restaurant one time, and which is what I do. I bring my own sauce to a Japanese restaurant. So instead of using the Japanese naturally brewed soy sauce, I bring my kokomansi, and I would add it with a bit of wasabi sauce, and I would even ask the table beside us, who are pure Japanese, to try it. And they themselves were surprised, and they were like wondering, what is it? I said, it's coconut. And they would be surprised. How's it possible? Is it the juice? No, no, it's from the coconut sap. It's from the flower bud of the coconut tree. And then they would be surprised, and they'd give me a look. And but after, they were actually happy, and it's like, wow, this is something good. So again, that gave me a lot of confidence with my new product. And so that's one. That's the second one. The third one, of course, is coconut vinegar. So if you can see, my logo is saying C, and it's calamansi and coconut. So I wanted a third one because all three are all actually mixable. So you have your the vinegar, you have the calamansi, and you have your soy-like, but instead of a soy sauce, it's cocomansi. So my goal is actually to be able to introduce all these natural condiments to the market. Local is starting to pick up. I'm hoping to replicate the same thing for the ones abroad. So so far that's the plan.
That's very inspiring. I know that a lot of your travels, like you said, haven't been easy, and I think just listening to you, you're taking me to a journey where it is a natural progression. And when you and I spoke, I told you that your product, I feel like someday it's going to happen, but you're exactly what I'm looking for from a Philippine manufacturer who sees the potential, but sometimes the confidence level may not be there because you're doubting yourself. And that's the reason why I invited Christine and Christina to be here, just to give you some perspective, or at least ask their opinion about where the product could be, and maybe they can even already envision something for your product. I don't know, ladies, and maybe I'm putting you on the spot, but I just wanted you to guys give a perspective of what Alan said.
Sure. Yeah, and I can start. Well, first of all, Alan, thank you for sharing your story.
Christina, if you guys want to go ahead and jump in, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, can you hear me? Sorry.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I said thank you. Yeah, thank you, Alan, for sharing your story. I think the passion that you show for your product it's very visible, and I think that's the first thing that people will see. And that passion is what we actually look for with our clients, is to make sure, like the clients that we have, first thing is, you mentioned quality, and quality is the most important thing, because we can put any type of marketing plan, but if the product is not up to par, then it's not gonna sell. So we are very excited that you had put together a very a very viable quality product. So that first of all is my commendation for you.
Thank you.
Yeah. And then second is, as I'm looking at your Instagram and your social media and your website, I have to ask you, are you the photographer? Were you the one who took all the product photos?
In the Instagram page, it's actually, a lot of them are shared photos.
Oh wow!
From people.
Okay.
Those are shared.
Because they're beautiful
some of them
photos.
are mine. Well, some of them, I think they got pressured because they know I'm a photographer there. I didn't want to look too commercialized. I just putting it on your normal bamboo slat table and just putting the product there with all the local food products, it would be fine for me. I'm just enjoying how people are actually treating my products now, and I've heard a lot of stories. Even their kids are actually enjoying it right now. They started looking for it ever since it landed on their table. And that's my goal for not just Filipino households, not just in the Philippines, but also abroad, Filipinos abroad, and also people who are open to doing Asian type of food. would hopefully buy my product and be able to taste something very close to the heart of the Filipinos. I mean, who doesn't like calamansi, right? I mean, in the U.S., I know you plant calamansi there, but I don't think it's the same calamansi as it is here.
Correct.
But let me share something. Let me share something. I think Professor Vipin touched a lot of things when it came to the agribusiness. You know, sadly, Philippines has been overtaken by Vietnam in terms of agricultural business. And to think so many decades ago, Vietnamese people were actually studying here, in the UP Los Baños, and trying to learn even from us. And now their agricultural business is actually contributing a lot to their economy. And in my trip there, for another photo shoot for a major food company, I was quite surprised with how their calamansi products were selling in Vietnam. Not only calamansi, but also coconut. And the way they've done coconut is you can actually go to a convenience store and it's packaged in a small round shaped slice already. And you literally can just pop a straw in the middle and you can go out and have a fresh, cold drink of coconut juice. I mean, isn't that amazing? I know we have a lot of coconuts here, but not presented in that manner. And also the Vietnamese, when it came to calamansi, they're actually starting to roll out processed calamansi beverages in cans and in bottles. And I'm not so sure if there's a lot of us doing calamansi the way they're doing calamansi there in Vietnam. So I'm hoping, again, I'm just starting to learn. I'm drawing inspiration from all of these countries. I'm trying to see how I could put together. It's nice to know that Professor Vipin touched on, collaboration. He mentioned about agricultural business corridor. I like that idea, and the franchise beverage process co-branding. Yeah, it's actually already in my mind. I already have a lot of things in my mind that I'd like to work on with major food companies based here, but are already located in the US and all over. I just have to get things going. But there are already plans actually to go globally, to go to co-brand, to be able to let the other markets experience our great tropical fruits, the calamansi, coconut products, and present them in a different way. And hopefully, again, get to the people from abroad who misses the Philippines get a taste of things back home. So that's also my goal.
Yep. And I think to add into that, let's talk about labeling. By the way, I do have to say I have to compliment you on the way you're doing your labeling on your product.
Oh,
it's
thank
beautiful. You. When you put it on the shelf, you'll immediately see it. So kudos to that one. Really, really good products that you chose. And the good thing about your product too is it's not just for food, right? You know how calamansi is very versatile, right? You can for herbal medicine, it's a weight loss, if it's a weight loss thing, you can use it as a beauty product. So there's so many things that you can do with your product. So should you decide to also do it here in the United States or globally, wherever you're bringing it, there's so much use for it. So, a good luck. And if you need anything here as a resource, just let us know.
Thank you. But you're right.
Yeah. All right. Bong, Ferdinand. Yeah, I think I have to say good afternoon to our boss there, Eric Elnar of the Philippine Trade and Investment Center, all the way from Los Angeles.
Hi, Eric.
Hi, Eric.
Good morning there in the Philippines, Coach Joe. All right. So thank you so much, Alan. I think we have to bring back, to make this more exciting. Let's bring back Dr. Vipin, guys. But before that, let's pause for a quick break, and then we're bringing back Dr. Vipin, and of course, Jeepney Stop is here with Alan Tuason and Planet 63. Again, Planet 63, products from the Philippines, products for the Filipinos. We'll be right back. Magandang araw sa iyo, kabayan. This is Kachamp John P., Coach Jonathan of B Academy, Training Hub for entrepreneurship, I'd like to invite you to enroll in our online entrepreneurial masterclass wherein there are 4 things that I'd like to share with you bago ka magsimula magnegosyo. Una, paano gumawa ng entrepreneurial branding, no, to create value for the product or service na naiisip mo. Number 2, how to create demand-driven marketing strategies so that you can attract and promote and position your products and service. And number 3, tinatawag kong strategic salespreneurship on how you're going to convert all your leads, all your inquiries into sales revenue. At syempre, number 4, how can you maintain and attract customer loyalty and customer experience. These 4 videos will be accessed by you online, anytime, anywhere. Fully digital. All you have to do is enroll at www.coachjonathan.net/entrep masterclass. And not only that, I'm going to give you a copy of the ebook, yung Seesaw Sell, no? 5 killer instinct mindsets for you to sell and win more in this new norm. So, libre ng ebook. And what's good is you can be certified, no? I'm going to give you assessments for each and every course that you take. So 4 courses in one. It's called the Online Entrepreneurial Masterclass. Maraming salamat and I'll see you in class. God bless you. All right, so Ferdinand, we're back. We're back. We are on the last phase of our episode 3. So how are you so far after those very interesting insights from our guests today?
Well, that's exactly what we're doing, Jonathan. We're trying to make everybody think in the process, not to get too much of a headache, but it was so amazing. Thank you, Alan. I love the information. And now we get to bring, and also the ladies, thank you for the comment, Christine and Christina. And because sometimes that's what a lot of people need, just to get a feedback. And you certainly did that. Thank you. And now I guess we get to bring back Dr. Gupta.
Correct. But before that, Ferdinand, I have another good comment here from my thread. Again, from Coach Marvin De Silva. He says here, I worked in Vietnam for 6 years. I witnessed how a Philippine company studied and worked its way to be the #1 bottled beverage in Vietnam. And also here in the Philippines. C2, for sure you're familiar with that. They call it C2. Amazing how can such a player entered a tea naman ito, no? Tsaa naman, Ferdinand, tea drinking country out of the Philippines. Very inspiring. So it could happen also with Saint C, no? The group of Alan Tuason. So my dear friends, I think for now we have to bring back all the guests today. Of course, first up is Dr. Vipin Gupta. Sir, welcome back once again. Alan, and of course, Christina and Christine. There you go. So all of us are here right now. Perfect. Wow. Ferdinand?
Well, you guys have been amazing. I mean, I just said to myself, you guys exactly what I wanted in terms of the way we want to present Philippine products to the U.S. market. Some insights, amazing perspectives, and something inspirational from Alan. And Alan, I will definitely keep track of what's happening with you, and hopefully my jeepney stop is a resource for you here in the U.S. market, as well as Dr. Gupta, because Dr. Gupta has a lot, in terms of resources that can help Philippine businesses this way, for like yourself. So please don't forget that. And also Planet 63 will always be here for you in terms of trying to get the word out and creating, as you said, local to global. Right, Jonathan?
Thank you for that. Yeah.
Correct.
Thank you, Christina, Dr. Gupta.
So I just want to mention, Alan, first of all, what a story. Congratulations. You have been wonderful. And when you were talking about your products, immediately my thought went to how olive oil is sold in the US. And that precisely the way your product needs to be sold. And the value, and I can see the cost, the retail price of your product in the US is going to be between 1,000 to 1,500 pesos. Okay, so you're selling it for 300 pesos right now. So essentially, it can be sold easily about 5 times. So there's a huge margin that people can have. And I can easily see that you can create a bunch of franchise co-branded operations in the US with all shops that sell olive oil.
Yes,
And
you're right.
the
Yeah.
way to do that is essentially in a very artisan way, right? So it's like an olive oil tasting sessions. So you can market the way you are marketing. Because I had to actually go and seek out what Kalimansi is, and that's not the way you can go to the mainstream international market, unfortunately. So it will have to be kind of completely, when you said soya substitute, so that's when essentially you will have to go to the recipes, the people who are writing recipe books, and like that, so that they say that instead of soya, you have a soya allergic, then you use this product.
Yeah,
so exactly. You need a lot of endorsers and a lot of reframing, because otherwise it really cannot be sold. It will be very difficult, especially the glass bottles that itself create a lot of problems. And so I think there are a lot of opportunity. It just needs a right way of thinking and then a right way of access to the right channels.
But funny you mentioned olive oil, because in terms of packaging, that's exactly the bottle that it's the same company that provides the bottles to the olive oil companies in Italy. And I actually am in touch with that same supplier. So that's actually also my inspiration. I wanted to elevate the image of calamansi as something very superior and can be globally competitive in any part of the world, just like olive oil. So it's funny you mentioned that, Dr. Vipin. But thank you for that. I learned a lot from you today. Actually, you kind of did my research already for me in the last 30 minutes. Thank you.
Yeah, for sure, Dr. Vipin will be back, right, Dr. Vipin? Because
Absolutely.
as promised, you'll be with Planet 63 because this is a once a week show. But Dr. Vipin assured us that he will be with us at least once a month. So 1 week of the 4 weeks that we have, Ferdinand.
Yes, sir. Yes, we're excited to have you there. And also, we're hoping that we can convince the dynamic duo here to always be in the show, because, again, their perspective is on the marketing. Once we do all the research, they execute a lot of this stuff. And I appreciate them being here, as well as I appreciate Dr. Gupta being here. Thank you.
Of course.
Thank you
Anything for you, Ferdinand. So.
Wow. Wow, that's a great assurance. All right. So, Ferdinand, I think we have to say goodbye again, at least for now. So, so what do they expect next week? Next week will be another round of exciting guests. Yeah,
it's going to be the same thing. What we're hoping to do is make it we're experimenting with the format where we're always presenting Philippine products, but also we're hoping that next week we'll have a US-based manufacturer, with the help of Dr. Gupta, hopefully, to bring onto the show and introduce their product into the Philippine market.
Correct. So any parting words, ladies, Christine and Christina?
We're
always
looking forward to seeing Alan here in the United States and globally. So that's it. And thank you, everybody, for having us.
Yep,
thank you so much, Christine and Christina. I hope this won't be the last, because we have a lot of things to discuss also, right? Alan?
Yes, thank you so much, Jonathan, Ferdinand, of course, Professor Gupta. I learned a lot. Ladies, Christina, thank you also for the insights. I hope to work with you all.
Of course.
So we'll keep in touch.
Yes.
Thank you for this opportunity.
Definitely.
Mabuhay ang Pilipino. Produktong Pilipino. All right.
Mabuhay ang Pilipino, mabuhay ang Pilipinas. So again, thank you once again, Dr. Vipin, Sir Alan, of course, Ma'am Christine and Christina. So Ferdinand, any parting words as well?
No, I am just glad we continue to do this, Jonathan. Thank you, everyone.
Correct. So again, I'm Professor Jonathan of Planet 63, products from the Philippines, products for
the Filipino.
See you next week. Mabuhay po kayong lahat.